I look at how they're spending their days and months and years. It becomes very apparent to me that they might be saying that they want a particular thing in their lives, but their actions are demonstrating something totally different. And as I continue to consult and advise leaders around the world, the thing I find so fascinating is the number of people that have expectation with no execution. I mean, we could spend the whole rest of this episode just on that one statement. How many people do you know? And maybe you're that person that has all the expectations in the world, but no execution. You know, it amazes me. Here we are in the second quarter of 2025. We are in the fourth month. We're about a week or two away from the fifth month. We're almost at the halfway mark in this year. And so many people came into 2025 like they come into every year with all of this excitement, all of this adrenaline, all of this enthusiasm, emotionalism about all these things they were going to do. They had all the mantras, they had all the affirmations, they had all the positive thinking. This was going to be their year, like every year is going to be their year, but they never manifested. And by mid January, they've fallen off the bandwagon. They've gone back to the same bad habits and toxic cycles that have characterized their lives for so many years. And they tell themselves, 2026, hey, that's going to be the year. And it becomes a repeat of every other year. And why is that? Because one of the things you always hear me say on this podcast, or if you've ever had a conversation with me beyond this platform, every year is my year. I'm not waiting for a tagline or a statement or a mantra because I come into every year with a very clear plan, a very clear strategy, a very clear blueprint. And while a lot of people are posting and shouting and talking about what they're going to do, I'm very quiet and I'm executing on the goals and the things that I set for myself this year. And when I look around, there's so many people that are talking, 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 and I always tell people less talk and more action, because a lot of times we're talking about things that we can't deliver on and we never produce it in our lives and we never see the results that we want to see. And so, from experience, I can tell you that expectation without execution only produces expired dreams. Write that down. Expectation without execution only produces expired dreams. And how many people do we know have allowed their dreams to expire because they have all the expectation, but when it comes down to the execution and the work, they are unwilling to do what is necessary to move their lives to the next level. I believe this with all my heart, and I'm sorry. I know some of you probably say he says this all the time, but I say it because I believe it. Where there is no vision, where there is no prophetic utterance, the people cast off restraints and run wild. What's wrong with the world is not that people are victims of their circumstances or products of their environment or prisoners to their condition. The problem that we have in the world is that we have a generation of people with no vision. And when you don't have a vision for your life, any road will take you there. So what happens is you become the victim of somebody else's vision and you spend your life fulfilling what other people want you to do, but never doing the thing that you were born to do. And so that's why you got to have a clear vision for your life. Then you got to break that vision down. And I always talk about you have to go from the macro to the micro level and you have to break it down into chunks and digestible steps so that you can make that thing a reality. What does that mean, Jamel? That means that you have a plan in place that every single day of your life, you are taking a step toward the life that you were born for. Now, if I talk to most people, and we have a real sit down and honest conversation, they can't say that every day they're taking steps toward the life they were born for. They can tell me that they are binge watching Netflix. They can tell me they're hanging out with friends, they're having a good time, but are you really making progress? Are you really living up to your potential? There are very few people that are doing that. And I always tell people, life is too precious to just be hanging out, to just be laughing and going through the motions. Because I mean, you may be having fun today and you may be enjoying yourself for a moment, but there's going to come a time where there's going to be a real accounting of your life. I'm a finance person. There's going to be an accounting of your life, and you're going to have to be able to reconcile what you've done with your life, what you've done with your potential, what you've done with your moments, how you've managed your activities, and what you've accomplished in your life. And there won't be any time for you to make more excuses of why this didn't happen, or why this never occurred, or why this never manifested in your life. In that moment, you're going to have to give an account of how you lived your life. And when you understand life from that perspective, it causes you to live with a sense of intentionality and urgency, knowing that we don't have as much time as we think we do. And so we got to make the best of the moments and the opportunities that have been given to us. And so I want to spend some time today talking with you around the subject of push, taking your life out of neutral. Push, taking your life out of neutral. And again, this is just going to be an introduction, because as I begin to unpack this topic, it was so loaded that there's no way I could limit this to one particular episode. Too many people. Um, so we just established that expectation without execution produces expired dreams. Let's go deeper. Inaction is where dreams flatline and ultimately die. Write that down. Inaction is where dreams flatline and ultimately die. I cannot begin to tell you the number of people that are allowing their dreams to flatline and die on a daily basis through inaction. Because this is what we tell ourselves: I have time. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it next week. And that sounds good theoretically. But if you don't have a real plan and strategy in place, what you said you would get to next week turns into next year, and the next 5 years, and the next 10 years. And then you look up and 30 and 40 years of your life is gone, and you cannot really give a great summation of what has happened with your life and what is becoming of your life, which means that you're not really stewarding your life and your moments and your time effectively. And so uh, you cannot afford to be a person of inaction. And that's the reason that most people never succeed. It's the reason why some people have had the same goals for the last 15 years and they haven't accomplished anything. It's the reason that some people are excited every January and by February they failed and they've fallen back into the same routine. It's the reason that so many people resent the success of other people, because these people continue to thrive and continue to succeed in life, and they can't seem to figure out why their lives are not working. And so you have to become a person of action. The Bible says that faith without works is dead. So what we have is a lot of people with hope, but hope deferred makes the heart sick. And if you don't mix hope with action and intention, you're just going to create more disappointment in your life. And so what I'm saying is you got to get busy moving toward the life you were born for. I want you to also understand is that too many people are waiting and waiting and waiting. And what they fail to realize is that in the waiting, life is passing them by. It's like, how long are you going to wait? You say you're going to do it. You say you want this goal. You say you want to accomplish X, Y, and Z. Well, how long are you going to sit there? Are you going to move toward it? Are you going to do something different? Or are you going to keep doing what you've always done? Because we know that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Well, we know that, but a lot of us are living that on a consistent basis, because we keep saying we want this, we want the new house, we want a greater job, we want to advance in our career, we want to create this business, we want to patent this product, we want to do all of these things, but insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. How many people are living in insanity every day and telling themselves it's going to get better? Well, I always tell people, if you don't get better, your life's not going to get better. I mean, we can speak some affirmations all day long, but what steps are you taking to move you from the life that you have to the life that you desire to live? I can't stay there. And so while they're waiting, the world is still turning. This is what I tell people because there are always those people that say, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the right time. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. Well, can I help you? There will never